fervent viewers of Dash Television, you are welcome to another edition of the program Health in Brief with me, Linda Obumneke. On today's edition, water is the focus, and we shall be debunking some common myths about dehydration. A lot of people have questions about how often should they drink water, what quantity of water should they take, and why. And they also ask questions about if water can be substituted with any other beverage or any other drink. Well, we shall be finding out about that in today's edition of Health in Brief. But before then, let's find out, how often do you drink water? What quantity of water do you take on a daily basis and why? Let's go find out.
À mon réveil, 1,5 litre. Et puis en cours de journée, disons 1,5 litre aussi. Donc ça fait une moyenne de 3 litres par jour. Je suis dans les publicités, souvent il y a entre 2-3 litres. Je suis dans les 3 litres. Oui, je me dis 2-3 litres. Déjà, pour la santé, ça aide pour la digestion. Quand tu bois de l'eau, surtout à jeun, tu te sens plus à l'aise. Ça permet d'évacuer.
Yes. Talking about if I drink water often, I do drink water often, especially in the morning. Before taking breakfast, I drink at least 1 liter of water. Then I make sure during my lunchtime, I take maybe a glass of water. In the evening, sometimes I usually forget, but at least I can say I drink water often, but not always, but often. I make sure, especially in the morning when it's very important for the health, I do drink water in the morning, most important. I know that as a human being, at least it's 1 liter in a day, especially during the morning. I know that for a human being in the morning, you might be supposed to consume 1 liter in the morning. But the rest of the day, I don't really take into consideration to measure how many liters you are drinking. First of all, water is good for the body. It energizes your human system, and also it opens pores. It's good for the heart to glow. And also it avoids some kind of sickness, so I think I drink mostly water for my health, to be in good health every day.
Par jour, moi particulièrement, je consomme 2 litres d'eau par jour. Il faut avoir plus d'énergie, suivant également notre domaine, mon domaine d'activité. Parce qu'on passe plus de temps debout. Oui, et on a, je crois, bien 12 heures de service. Donc, pour que tu ne sois pas fatigué, il faut de temps en temps consommer d'eau, au fur et à mesure que tu te libères aussi. Ce que les instances sanitaires nous demandent de faire. Quand tu te lèves le matin, je dirais même, sur le pied du lit, tu dois consommer de l'eau. Pour permettre, ça te permet de dégager les éléments toxiques. Déjà, après que vous ayez consommé une quantité d'eau, ça vous amène aux toilettes. Vous me permettez? Voilà. Et à longueur de journée, au fur et à mesure que tu dépenses l'énergie, je vous ai souligné tantôt que dans notre domaine d'activité, on pratique beaucoup plus la marche. Il faut patrouiller. Voilà. Et il faut consommer de l'eau de temps à autre.
You're welcome back, dear viewers, and you're watching Health in Brief on Dash Television. With me here is Dr. Gani Wele Wilfrid, public health physician. With him, we shall be debunking some common myths about dehydration. Hello, doctor.
Hello.
You're welcome on the program.
Thank you very much.
So let's go to the basic. What is dehydration?
Okay, thank you first of all for inviting me and giving us the opportunity to continue educating the public. Dehydration is a very interesting topic and common public health topic because it cuts across many medical fields, and it's simply the body having losing more water than water is taken in. Like when someone is regarded as being dehydrated, it means the quantity of water he's losing is far more than the quantity of water that he's taking in. Yeah.
And what are the common causes of dehydration?
The causes of dehydration can be classified as, like, I would say, natural or non-clinical or linked to an illness. Naturally, if the person doesn't drink water, he's going to be dehydrated. Yeah, if the person doesn't drink water, he's going to be dehydrated. Now, in terms of signs and symptoms of a patient usually coming to the hospital, the person vomiting is losing water and fluids and electrolytes. The person having diarrhea, watery stools, is losing water, fluids and electrolytes. So those are some common causes that most people know. And also we have people having some respiratory illnesses, like the respiratory rate increases more than the normal. He will lose more water than the person having normal respiratory rate. People who are diabetic and who are not yet on treatment usually tend to urinate more than they should. Urinating, losing more water than normal. They are likely to be dehydrated than other people.
Okay, and we talked about people who are diabetes and people who lose a lot of water, respiratory illness and all the like. So how does dehydration affect the body when you lack enough water in your system? How does it affect the body?
In terms of the clinical presentation of dehydration, we can usually classify it as mild, moderate, and severe. Now, in mild, moderate, starting from up to down, to be easy to go in an easier way, you can have people with sunken eyes. The eyes are inward, like they go back into the eyeballs. You have people with dry lips. You have people who don't even produce spit. Even infants may not produce spit. Going down, you have skin sugar, poor skin sugar. The skin sugar is not the best. You have in infants, even in adults, you can have tachycardia, that is increased heart rate. You can have increased respiratory rate. Those are clear signs of dehydration. You can also have, in terms of the urinary system, you can have reduced urine production, which is a very important symptom to check, especially for mothers. You have a child at home who is not feeling fine. After a while, you see the child spending 6 hours, 12 hours without passing out urine. It's an emergency. It's an emergency. Here we can go up to having an acute kidney injury, which can be life-threatening if not reversed. So those are some basic and
recognizing that someone is dehydrated.
Yeah.
Now, the fact that one is dehydrated obviously affects the body system.
Definitely.
Yes, so, and it can cause some health conditions.
Definitely.
What are these kind of health conditions that dehydration can cause in the body?
Now, in terms of health conditions, first of all, as I said, dehydration cuts across many medical fields. Not drinking water hinders the way the body works normally, because our human body is made up of 60 to 70% of water, the human body. And the most affected usually are kids, and pregnant women, and the elderly, in terms of groups that are mostly affected by dehydration. So the effects could go as from being dizzy. It could go from being dizzy. It could go from you could have confusion. Those are some small signs, some common signs of dehydration.
And it causes headache and...
You can have headache, yeah. You can feel thirsty, like naturally you feel thirsty, yeah. But it's important for people to understand that you should not wait until you're thirsty for you to be able to drink water. because like I may say there are some people who may never feel thirsty, if I can say that.
Is it possible for someone not to feel thirsty?
I don't know if I will say it's possible for someone not to feel thirsty, but maybe this is an aside. I had one of my grandfathers who never, what my mother tells us, like never drank water. So what happened with him, I don't know, but he never drank water. His own was, you know, his palm wine, and that's all. Water to him was just to bathe and to brush his teeth. So that's a very bad health habit, yeah. Okay.
And we have other health conditions that dehydration can cause.
Definitely, dehydration is a very severe symptom, sign and symptom in medical field. You can have, like in many emergency departments, especially during outbreaks like cholera outbreak, dehydration can go up to causing the death of a child. Because when a child is dehydrated, you have cells that lack water. That's the most important thing. When cells lack water, their function is different, is hindered, is hampered. So once this happens, you can have symptoms going to all the organs. For the urinary system, for example, you have a child who doesn't produce urine, or the urine is highly concentrated. You have a child having dark red urine, for example, which can be a sign of dehydration. You have a child who cries but no tears are flowing. Those are signs of dehydration. You have people who have cold, clammy extremities. These are signs of dehydration. And you can have people you have people with headaches, people who feel drowsy, and people who are tachycardic, tachypneic, which is high respiration, high breathing, high cardiac heart rate, let me put it that way. Yeah, those are things that can happen.
So you talked about children crying without any tears, and most of the time we tend to find children who cry and there is no tears, and maybe their mom or their parents will see that maybe they are faking the cry.
Yeah, this is a very important thing. As I said, it's a way to clearly diagnose that this child doesn't have enough water in his system. But as you said, community, some mothers may claim that the child is faking the cry, and maybe beat him the more, which is going to worsen the situation, but it doesn't help. A child crying without tears, it's a clear sign of dehydration. We should be, the mother should consult for that, or adequately hydrate the child. It can help.
Okay. The reason we're taking the topic dehydration is because most time people really neglect the role that water plays in the system, and they even neglect the fact that they are dehydrated. They don't know the signs and they don't know the symptoms of dehydration, and even when they see the signs, they do not take it serious. Now, how is dehydration treated clinically?
Dehydration in the medical setting, the hospital setting, okay, let me not say in the hospital setting, because it can also be treated at home. Can be treated as mild, moderate, and severe. In the mild and moderate forms, it's just like giving normal water, plain water to the child, or giving oral rehydration salt to the child, which can be homemade or can be bought by the pharmacy. Now, to make oral rehydration salt locally is very easy. You can just take like 6 cubes of sugar, 30 grams of sugar, half teaspoon of salt, and 1 liter of clean water. It's very important. But now this is given to infants depending on their weight. Okay. Yeah, but to adults, they can drink systematically. This should be kept for maximum 24 hours. Yeah, this one is for mild moderate dehydration. Now for severe dehydration, this is hospital management with intravenous fluids. Depending on the medical personnel is going to judge which fluid is better to give, either sodium chloride or Ringer's lactate, depending on the clinical presentation of the patient.
How is it done? Like they inject it in you, or?
It's parenterally injection, yeah. Okay. That's for severe dehydration, yeah. But for simple, for mild and moderate, as I said, it can be treated with oral fluids intake or oral rehydration salt.
And can be done at home?
Can be done at home or in the hospital, because even in the hospital we do hydrate, we do use mild and moderate measures to rehydrate children.
Okay. We are trying to debunk some of the myth and misconception about dehydration. A lot of people have something to say about dehydration. Now, one of them is a question, because you talked about your uncle not being able to feel thirsty. And is it possible for one to stay dehydrated and not feel thirsty? Like, you are dehydrated and yet you don't feel thirsty, you don't feel like to drink something?
Yes, it's very possible. It's very possible for someone to feel dehydrated and not feel thirsty. That is why we don't advise people to wait until they are thirsty before they drink water. Drinking water should be something you plan, you do systematically throughout the day. You should not wait to be thirsty before drinking water. Drink water, as you know, is a daily duty. Just like you have to bathe, you have to brush your teeth. Take water as a habit you have to inculcate in your day-to-day activities. Because if you wait until you're expecting to be thirsty, you may never even come to drink water, and you'll be very dangerous for your body.
Now, how much water should one drink in a day? What's the quantity, or how many liters of water should one drink in a day? And I know it depends on the age and maybe on the gender too.
Yeah, definitely. The hydration status depends on the age of the person usually. But usually what we advise for infants, for children less than the adolescent age, they can drink up to 2 liters of water
a day.
A day, 1.5 for 1 to 1.5 for younger children. For adolescents, can drink up to 1.5, 2 liters. But from adults, advisable to drink up to 2.5 liters to 3 liters. Then elderly are advised to drink even more. But then when you are in a condition that makes you to lose more water, like physical exercise, for example, you need to drink much more water than the normal recommended daily needs. If you are working under hot sun, you need to drink much more water than the normal recommended daily needs. For example, if you are doing any activity that requires you, be it medically oriented, that requires you to lose water, you have to compensate for the water intake. If not, you're going to be running the risk of being dehydrated. Instead, need to drink water to compensate for the alcohol that you're drinking.
Okay.
It's very important to know that.
Yes, some people say I'm very thirsty, but the fact that they are thirsty, it's not like they want to drink water, they want to take something, but which is not water, obviously.
Yeah, this is a very, very bad health habit, if I may say it that way. Because even me, most of the times, we recently organized a health campaign here, screening for renal issues. It gave me the opportunity to discuss with a good number of the public and educate them on this question. Drinking alcohol dehydrates you. It's very important for people to know that.
Okay, it means when you drink alcohol,
you instead need to drink water to compensate for the alcohol that you're drinking.
Okay.
It's very important to know that, because some people, as you're saying, feel that when they drink alcohol, there's no need for them to drink water anymore. But drinking alcohol dehydrates you. So I participated in one winery somewhere, and the person who was leading us through gave us the advice that for every glass of wine you drink, you need to drink twice the quantity of water. Like if you drink 1 glass of wine, you need to drink 2 times the glass of to compensate with what you just drank. Yeah. Now, people who drink sweeteners like gaseous drinks and all the like, those things instead also contribute in dehydrating us. On the other hand, you have some good foods that you can drink and even consume. You have watermelon, which contains a lot of water, which we encourage people to consume if they don't feel like drinking water that regularly. It's very important. It's going to help them. You have vegetables that contain a lot of water, and that can also help in the hydration status of the person.
Since you mentioned fruits like watermelon and you talked about vegetable, that was about coming to food. Are there food that when consumed reduce the intake or reduce water in the body? Because you talked about watermelon, which adds water, and vegetable, which adds water to your body. Now, are there food that when one consumes instead reduces water?
Yes, high salt containing foods and high sugar containing foods tend to reduce the hydration status of somebody instead of helping the person to be hydrated. Yeah, so it's advisable to reduce or to limit the quantity of food you take that contain a high quantity of salt or a high quantity of sugar, because they are going to force the water out through urination or any other natural means, and your body will be left dehydrated. So instead, you have to promote, like what I gave earlier, healthy habits like eating fruits like watermelon, oranges. You can also eat enough vegetables and other fruits that contain enough water. They tend to remain in our body for a longer period, rather than drinking the gaseous drinks and all the like that turn to make our water be out of our body simultaneously with the high salt and sugar content they contain.
Okay, saying that, does it mean that it is possible to overhydrate, like to drink so much water?
Very rare,
and it has a risk.
Very rare, but yes, it's possible.
Wow. So we've talked about how much a liter of water a human body should consume, and you also mentioned the fact that the color of your urine can indicate to us if we are hydrated or not. Yeah. So come back to that, please.
Yeah, usually children, when we are in the hospital and the mother brings the child, even for severe malaria, for example, asking about the last time the child passed out urine can give us an idea on the hydration status of the child or on the kidney function of the child. So when the child has dark red urine or highly concentrated urine, dark yellow urine, it can be indicative to us that this child is not well hydrated. And also, high fever, infants with very high fever tend to lose more water than people without fever. So these are clear signs and symptoms that you have to monitor in the hospital setting and exclude dehydration when we receive a child.
So what about adults?
These children, children are always like the mirror of the quality of the society, but it's always a reflection with adults. When it happens in adults, it tends to even be more severe sometimes, because adults have the possibility of detecting that my urine is too concentrated, maybe I need to hydrate myself.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gani. Before we go, let's take our last questions, and it's a word of advice and encouragement. Give us some of the tips and strategies for people to stay hydrated.
Okay, thank you too very much, Dash TV. So the first thing I'll say is that don't wait to be thirsty before drinking water. Because even me sitting here, I have my small cup in my office. If the cup is not filled regularly, I don't remember to drink water. So it's important for you to have a personal strategy for you to drink water continuously. Because if you wait until you are thirsty, you may never be thirsty. If you work under a very hot climatic condition like builders, people who sell by the road and all the like, over under the sun, make sure you drink much more water than recommended, because you also lose much more water than recommended. The feeding, the nutrition we take, the food we take in, the drinks we take in, should go alongside with the quantity of water we need. We should not take in gaseous drinks, sodas, and thinking that we are hydrating ourselves. That one can be more detrimental than helping us. So eat a lot of vegetables, as we always say. Eat a lot of vegetables, eat a lot of fruits, and I'm sure at the end, all of us are going to live a better life.
Thank you so much. That was Dr. Ganiwela Wilfred, public health physician, talking about dehydration and the risk factors. He equally debunked some of the myths or misconceptions we all have or people have about dehydration. We should note that the human body needs 60 to 70% of water to be fit. And one thing we should know also is that dehydration or signs of dehydration says a lot about our health system or health condition. So hope you enjoyed this edition of the program. We shall be coming back again with another interesting topic. Bye-bye.